Before we get started today on another episode of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, I want to introduce y'all to a couple of our sponsors. The Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing the same shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Wherever you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find them on social media on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, on Instagram, Southern California _ Warriors, and on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Background Check International. Are you looking to background check a new hire on? Let Kit Freeman take care of that for you. Kit founded and has managed Background Check International since 1994, and he's here to help you with the screening process. Contact Kit and let him make the hiring process that much easier. This business is used for professional background checks and not used for any crimes such as identity theft or any other illegal activity. You can find them on social media at Background Check International, BCI, or on the website, bcint.com. Now on to the show. The NBA All-Star starters was announced this past week. Who's the most deserving of their nods? We'll discuss that and the surprises along with their starters' name as well. The Big 12 and SEC had their challenge over the weekend. Who were some winners and who were some losers that came out on Saturday's tilted games? Plus, scores, news around the league and the world of professional and college sports. And this is Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio. On speaker, your direct feed for that is always sports, and you're welcome to join us. Join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're back in the fold, back in the studio with the Bengals going to the Super Bowl. First time in a long time for them, so congrats to them. But we're here to discuss basketball tonight. And a lot of stuff going on in the world of basketball, so we're going to dive into it. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing very well. Great weekend. Obviously, we got some shocking stuff going on in the NFL day. So, a great weekend overall, man.
Yeah, that's very good to hear. Very good stuff. And, you know, if some of y'all don't know, D-Lock, he's a track coach at Georgia State, coaching the women's side. And
yes, sir.
You were just in Houston this past weekend. Am I correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
So
yes, we were there this past week. We had a hell of a weekend. Shout out to Georgia State ladies. Performed very well this weekend, man. It's one of the best weekends that we had. Good thing about that. So all the teams that were there outside of us were teams in Texas. So we were like the only team that came, from a different state. And we represented well. So very proud of the ladies. They did very well.
Man, that's awesome to hear. And shout out to those ladies doing their thing over the weekend. But let's dive into it, D-Lock. The Big 12 and SEC Challenge were this past Saturday. The tilted games, Started off with LSU TCU, with TCU winning 77-68. And then, just going down the list, Auburn beating Oklahoma 86-68. Alabama winning against Baylor 87-78. Iowa State beating Missouri 67-50. Arkansas beating a very good West Virginia team 77-68. Ole Miss beating K-State 67-56. Florida beating Oklahoma State 81-72. Kentucky going to Allen Fieldhouse and beating down Kansas 80-62. And Texas Tech beating Mississippi State 76-50. With their big matchup looming this Tuesday against Texas. And then finally, Texas beating Tennessee by 1, 52-51. So, who were your winners during that challenge? Who stuck out to you, D-Lock, that came off pretty good and should use his momentum towards the rest of the year?
Well, I know we're probably going to have a much of agreement on this, but I really love what Alabama did. Baylor being, with the expectation that they have and what they've done, for Bama to get that victory was very, very impressive. And it was a tight game all the way through for the most part. I really like, like I said, Jeremy Sochan, he kind of did. He had a pretty decent game. But Javon Quanterly, I've been trying to say his name all weekend correctly. He had a hell of a game as well. So I really like what they were like one of the biggest like games that I really liked and did a lot. The other one is Kentucky. We know what Kentucky is. We know what they represent. The Kentucky and Kansas matchup will always be one fun to watch, and we know what Kansas represents as well. But Kentucky can take that momentum moving forward. I think it'll go a long way. But the biggest thing for both of these teams, Alabama beating Baylor, and Kentucky beating Kansas, is the recruiting thing. This does big for recruiting. We know what Kentucky has done in the past, the people that they have come in, and Bama is starting to make that same trend right now with a lot of great players, like young, like 4 and 5 star players coming in, making an impact. But these games, like you said, is going to help the momentum moving forward. But they're also now going to have teams or kids are starting to see this. So to take down a number 5 Kansas and to take down a number 4 Baylor, that does wonders. And it also, how I've been talking, I've always been team SEC. So this just lets us know that we're not the SEC conference is not just a football conference or just a track conference. They got some pretty decent basketball teams too. So I definitely really, really enjoyed this weekend, especially with all these SEC games, and of course, loving the fact that Florida got their dub as well.
Let me go to Kentucky, Kansas first. I think that's a big time statement win on the road, middle of the year, against a team that you possibly can see down in the NCAA tournament, wherever it's like Sweet 16, Elite 8, or maybe Final Four. When Kentucky going to Allen Fieldhouse and beating them down like the way they did, that's a big win for me. Brooks having 27 points and 8 rebounds, 9 for 16 shooting. Excellent night for him yesterday. And then, I'm going to make sure I get this guy's name right. I always kind of butcher it. But Oscar Chishubi, he's a beast down low. 17 points, 14 rebounds. He's been really, really stellar for for most of the year. 16 points, 15 rebounds. You can't ask for better production than that. And I hope NBA teams kind of take notice. Yeah, he's not like a big time scorer down low and whatever. But if you're getting rebounds and scoring like this and get high amount of rebounds, you're gonna find a place in the league later on. And Oscar is showing that. Because nobody on Kansas got double-digit rebounds. I mean, Wilson got close with eight, but with Oscar getting 14, and hustling and stuff like that down low, he's going to do wonders and keep the other team out the glass. And that's what you big men need to do. So Kentucky's a big winner in my book. Like you mentioned, Alabama. Man, D-Lock, I don't know with this team sometimes. It's like early in the week, they lose to Georgia. We talked about it. I was like, damn. Tom Crean, ever since he's been in Georgia, had done jack squat. And, I'm not saying, it would be an easy win, but I figured, they at least win. Georgia don't got nothing. And they lose that game. And some Alabama fans, were on Nate Oates' head. And, calling him NIT Oates and stuff like that. Have his picture on the face on the Cracker Oatmeal box and stuff like that. They were on his neck. And then Coleman Coliseum got filled. They're playing number 4 Baylor. And like you mentioned, good back and forth. And they, win by 9 points. My only issue with Alabama D-Lock, it's great to show up against Baylor, Houston, Gonzaga, and whatnot. But you got to bring that same injury you playing Missouri, Georgia, and others. Because, if you show up for the big games, cool. But you got to show up for the other ones as well. And I hope they use this game and kind of use it as momentum to kind of handle business down the road. And down the road meaning they got Auburn here on February the 1st. Number 1 team in the country in Auburn. So you show up for this game, beat the champs from last year. Now can you come back to Auburn and win this upcoming Tuesday? We'll see. I'll throw one more win in there, D-Lock. I know we were on this dude's neck a couple of weeks ago. Arkansas beating a good West Virginia team. It's weird. I know we talked about this, touched it a little bit. It's kind of weird. We talk about Arkansas and Musselman and stuff like that, and then next thing you know, they winning games and stuff, and winning games when it counts. So I say shout out to them. Beating a good West Virginia team that's kind of taking a slide here the past couple of weeks. You're talking about a team that was like 13-3 at one point. Now they're kind of like a little slide at the moment. But credit to Arkansas. Had a good first half. Continued in the second half with 39 points in the second half. And they rolled on Bob Huggins' team. And then, like you said, Florida. I think they needed that win too. Kind of like Alabama, in my eyes. Now, granted, Oklahoma State don't got the players they had last year, but I think Florida needed that win as well, especially being down that first half to D-Lock. Because they were down by double digits, and coaching malpractice by Oklahoma State to kind of let Florida come back and win the way they did. And almost by double digits as well.
Yeah, like I said, it was a great overall for me. It was a great weekend for the SEC. A lot of their games. For a lot of them, they got majority of the victories over Big 12. A couple of games, clearly was a loss, but I just feel like now they have a lot of that biggest loss with the LSU to TCU. I just feel like a lot of these games helped, so these other conferences can see, hey, like the SEC they're here too, especially in college basketball. So I definitely like that.
And then, just real quick, who are some of your losers in your eyes?
I would say my biggest loser is the LSU.
Yeah.
I just feel like that game. I feel like LSU is starting. Like LSU is one of the better teams in the SEC as well. But to take that loss to TCU was just very big. It just was like one of the blows to them. Being at 16-5. Now TCU, is pretty good, but the fact that they're not one of those ranked teams is what kind of has me thrown off just slightly a little bit. I probably would say also, if I had to pick, it would be Tennessee. Even though it was a 1-point game, that's a heartbreaker. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of game, to lose it like that definitely hurts. So overall, still a great weekend for the SEC, but those two losses is what sticks out, if I had to say. Hurt the SEC overall that weekend.
Yeah, I agree with you on Tennessee. I think if you're Rick Barnes, you can't fall into a Chris Beard special. And some of y'all probably listening like, what are you saying? Well, in basketball, certain coaches and in certain styles, they like to keep it in like a certain point range. Like you see it more in college and preps. And with Chris Beard, he likes to keep it. If it's like between under 55 points or so, hey, that's great for him and his squad. Perfect. Now, it gets to those higher point totals. Yeah, they can win. But, it kind of gets shaky. And they could win. They could just fall apart at the end. And that's one thing I think Rick Barnes should have known coming into. Like, yeah, I gotta score at least 70 points to kind of, win this game. And that didn't happen. And then, like you said, LSU, bad shooting game right there. TCU won one of the more surprises in the country that nobody's really talking about. 14-4 so far this year. Great win for them. They get a Oklahoma team here tomorrow who's kind of like in a rebuild stage with a new coach and stuff like that. So TCU can, win against Oklahoma tomorrow. They got some good momentum going to it for them. And then look at the TCU schedule. Kansas State at home on February 5th. 3 days later, Oklahoma State, 10-10 as well. Your next big matchup is against Texas Tech at Lubbock. So TCU got a chance to string some wins to kind of make themselves look good on the resume for the tournament. So I want to say about with you on the losers as well. And then I'll probably throw in Mizzou because, Conzo just needs wins and Conzo ain't winning. So hopefully Conzo keeps his job. But it seems like it don't look like it in my eyes. And, oh yeah, shout out to the chat real quick. Shout out to Taryn Rodriguez. Taryn saying USC men's basketball has been soft as of late. They lost to Stanford again. That is frustrating. Yeah. You talking about the US team that looked pretty good early in the season. Then once conference play kind of came around, they kind of kind of took a little backseat there. I definitely agree with you there, Taryn.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think I always go to it because it's important. Is the recruiting, and these things are very important when it comes to affecting, a team or a university down the road. And that's what we're seeing. So these games, these tight games, like it's making a big difference, man. I mean, you just can't tell, an athlete, hey, we got the greatest campus and we got these different degrees. They want to go to universities that are winning, winning these important games, to these rivalry games. So that is something that's definitely is paid attention to. And we talked about this before. When it comes to basketball, like college basketball, like it's not like football where it's just like where you have the 2 or 3 expected teams that go to the playoffs, and out of them, like they're gonna, teams that have been playing good all year, they could be the one that's just gonna win. Nah, like you have all these teams. We seen it last year. Gonzaga looked like the greatest team last year. And what happened? So, basketball has a lot of different like ways of different championship options, especially when it comes to different teams making these like pushes down the stretch. So, but again, like that's the beauty of college basketball is that you get in a tournament, anything can happen. But these games here, the ones we're talking about, is what we look at and say, damn, okay, this team could be one of the sleeper teams in the tournament that could make that big push down the road.
And that's why some of these challenges happen. Like a litmus test. Who's strong or what not. All that stuff. And then for USC, I see like some games have been postponed, and look like the next game is on February the 3rd against another coach on the hot seat, Bobby Hurley out of Arizona State. He on the same boat with Konzo. So USC, I mean, they could get a good win there, and after that on February the 5th they got Arizona at Tucson. So, and after that, they got the crosstown rival UCLA on the 12th. So we'll see how things go back for USC there. But D-Lock, did you watch the announcement for the NBA All-Star starters?
I seen it. I was kind of like kind of busy a little bit, but I definitely seen part of it and heard about it. For me, DeRozan is just who he is. I would say the biggest shocker for me, Andrew Wiggins.
Nah.
Yeah, like he's been playing great, but damn, to be like a starter, like that was a shocker to me.
And just to reiterate what we talked about, ladies and gentlemen, the NBA All-Star stars were announced like this for the quote-unquote West. You got LeBron James as captain, and then along with Andrew Wiggins, Nikola Jokic, John Morant, who's very well deserving of the nod, and Steph Curry. On the East side, quote-unquote, Kevin Durant as captain, who probably won't play in the game since he's out with injury. Giannis, Joel Embiid, DeMar DeRozan, and Trae Young. My only suspect one to me is Trae Young.
Ooh.
Yeah. I say it like this. I'll say it like this. Yes, the Hawks beat the Lakers today, and we'll discuss them here in a second. But you discussed this multiple times, and we even talked about the Hawks about a couple weeks ago. They kind of really been a disappointment this year. They really have. I know they kind of with the win today. Back in the playoff talk with Washington, kind of playing bad basketball here the past few games, but I just like. I know who's one of the better guards. I know that, but if I had to choose somebody to replace, it'd be him. I'll probably put, LaMelo Ball in that place. You know? I was like,
yeah, you could have. That's true there.
Just think about it. Kyrie and Harden had missed some time. So I think some of that voting got hurt. Boston got no real true lead guard. And then that's really about it. This LaMelo Ball and Drew Holiday. He's missed some time this year. And of course, plus Ben Simmons hasn't played the game yet. And then, let me ask you this. If Ricky Rubio didn't tear his ACL, would you think he'll be an all-star starter? Or that's just too much right there?
I would love to say that he would be. The only reason why I say he wouldn't is just because of the mixture of guards other guards they got. So the consistency of what we've seen from him, I think we wouldn't have seen him do so much damage to be an all-star starter. Now, I think he's on the all-star team, yes, but I don't think he would start because.
I think we lost D-Lock there. Let me double check to be sure. Yeah, I think we lost him. So hang on just a second, ladies and gentlemen. But
yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
I don't know how we disconnected, but yes, I think that he would be on the team. I just don't know if he would be a starter.
Yeah, I was on the same boat. I think he'll be in the starter this year. It's like Cleveland, one of the more surprising teams this year. We thought they were going to, be sorry again, but credit to for Bickerstaff, getting this team, playing well, playing good basketball. And I think Rubio was deserving of that. Very well deserving of it, of an all-star nod. Granted, they lost to Detroit today. And Darius Garland, who may sneak in as a reserve, we'll see. But I think all credit to them, They playing their butts out. And I think if he's still being, healthy and still playing, I think you look at a team maybe probably a better record and whatnot right now. But, injuries happen and all that stuff. Were you surprised by Andrew Wiggins' nomination?
Not really. What is he doing? Anyway, I'm sorry. I got this. Matt Stafford is playing terrible right now. Which is not a soccer, but damn. But Andrew Wiggins is playing great. It's just him starting. It just threw me off. I just felt as if you would have you got plenty of other people that you could have thrown in there, but to start him, that was the shocker for me.
Yeah, it came a little surprise. And I know some people look at stats and stuff like that when you come to All-Star starters. But, Golden State's like one of the best teams in the league. And, you know, the fans has spoken, and he's in the starting lineup. So,
Exactly.
I mean, you really can't, hate on that. He gets some extra money in his pocket and stuff like that. And sure, you can say Luka and Anthony Edwards and whoever else you want to throw in there. But it is what it is. And congrats to him to making those making an All-Star team. Long time coming, because a lot of people had a lot of high hopes for him coming out of high school and stuff like that, including me, to get to this level.
Mm-hmm.
So congrats to him.
Yeah, he's playing wonderful. And you know what's even more impressive with it? He's playing with all the guys they have in rotation. Like, he's taking advantage of the opportunity that is given to him. And he's hot right now. Like, even if you, and that's what makes this team so damn dangerous. Like, they got, like we talked about, like, they got so many people. You adding Klay Thompson into the fold. The person that I think we had even said it earlier in the season, the person I thought when Klay Thompson got back that was going to take a step back was Andrew Wiggins. Like, I felt like his usage would go down. But being the fact that he's a scorer and not a shooter, he's more of a scorer than a shooter, I think that's why he's playing so well right now. And, hey, you love to see it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Just go around the scores real quick around the league today. The Hawks beat the Lakers 129-121 after the Lakers had a double-digit lead going to halftime, and they lose by 8 points. Now, AD did play, but LeBron did not. So, and let's look at the box score real quick. AD, 27 points, 5 rebounds. The rebounds got to be better on that. Malik Monk in the starting lineup, 33 points, 10 rebounds for him. 8 for 14 for 3-point land, 12 for 19 from the field for him. Westbrook, 20 points, 12 assists, 7 rebounds. Good stat line for him. Melo, 11 points off the bench for him. For the Hawks, 36 points for Trae Young, 12 assists for him. Capella, 15-9. John Collins, 20-11. And off the bench for Atlanta, Bogdanovich, 10 points. And then Okonagu, 16 points off the bench for him. D-Lock and Taryn brought a good point. The Hawks, won to battle the disappointments today. Well, I don't know, man. With the Lakers,
Bro, they all over the place, bro.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to say. They just. Do you fire Frank Vogel? You gotta do something. First of all, we talked about it. I hate the fact. The thing about this, you know what this reminds me of? The Lakers remind me of. Did you play NBA 2K?
Oh yeah, I played. Yes, sir. I played.
Yeah. So you know that feeling when you putting all these superstars on your team and you start the season, you feel like this about to be the greatest season of all time because you got all these players that just got all kind of great things for them. And then you play the damn game and nothing really changes. Like, it's still like the same thing. Like, you're not blowing teams out like you thought or whatever. This is what this reminds me of. You got all these players that are not necessarily in their prime, the best in their prime, but a mixture of players that you would think that would find a way to be one of the better teams in the West. And you got one person that just plays like he's playing 21. And that's not changing. He is who he is. Like, Russ is going to be Russ sometimes. AD, I don't know what the hell, like, maybe the fact that they won the championship, man, it just seems like they don't want to play any defense anymore. That's what it seems like. And they're missing those key pieces that they had, but bringing back a Dwight Howard, Avery Bradley. I mean, what the hell is he doing? Like, I'm not sure, what he's doing. THT, we thought THT, from how they've been talking so much, that he was going to have this huge growth.
Yep.
I haven't really seen damn near anything from him. Like, so it's the Lakers and the Cowboys are like the same thing to me. Like, as far as expectations, like it's like no matter what, the Lakers are supposed to be, one of the better teams in the NBA. No matter what, the Cowboys are supposed to be a better team in the NFL. But it's just like we're seeing them, and it's just like they don't look good at all. Like, and it sucks because we've seen any team we see LeBron, a majority of the time they're pretty good. Except I think that team with the Cavs years back. But for it to be like this, the trade deadline is when again?
Middle of February.
Okay. I wouldn't be shocked if they move Russ. I mean, I don't know where the hell you send him now, but I just wouldn't be shocked if they got off of him. I mean, it depends on where they are in the West too, because, dude, like, it just didn't work. It's just not working to what we thought, or what could have been anyway. And it's fine. It's okay, but you have to be able to. They have to be able to say, okay, you know what? We made this trade. It didn't work. Hell, they should have got Buddy Hield, but we ain't gonna say whatever that situation. But it's a mess, man. Like, it's just complete mess.
Well, what's so funny about the Buddy Hield thing? They're trying to trade THT for him now. And that's the thing with the Lakers. When you make these moves, you gotta see him through. When you sign Horton Tucker to the extension and try and bank on his potential, you gotta see him through. If you weren't confident in in him like that, don't sign him to a long-term deal like that. I mean, I get it why they did it in a sense. In this case, a trade come about and you need to use his salary. But still, you just gotta think sometimes. How you go about your things. Now, I give Russell Westbrook credit. When they played the Hornets the other day, he did lead that charge back to almost, sending the game to overtime. I'll give him credit on that. Without LeBron and AD. I'll give him that. But, should they cut ties with Russ? I don't know. The only trade that looks possible, or a couple trades, one that seems doable, is swapping him and John Wall. The second, like I said, long shot. Maybe trading him and trying to find a way to get Ben Simmons. I know Derek Moore is asking a lot. And I've been reading, trade offers that team has been offering him. I don't know why he's not considering it. D-Lock, there was like a report that the Kings were willing to throw in Tyrese Halliburton in for him for the trade for Ben Simmons, along with 3 first-round picks. And they said no.
They crazy as hell.
Mind you, Tyrese Halliburton just put up 38 points against Philly this past Saturday, excuse me. Last night. 38 points, 7 assists.
What the hell are they looking for?
Well,
Michael Jordan? Honestly, and you tell me what you think. I think this is not a bad trade for either team. Because you still got De'Aaron Fox.
Yes.
You're good at the guard position. Like, it's not like, it's not like he's like about to retire or something. What, De'Aaron Fox, 26 maybe? 20, 25, if that? Like, you're going to have him, you throw him in with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is going to bring you some defense, which is what you need. You need some defense because I'm looking at the FanDuel points against a team, and the Kings are worst out of the 5. Like, you stack teams against the Kings, you damn near going to make some good money. Most of the time we see the Kings game, they're high scoring. They're like over like 250. Over-under, like 240, 250. So, for me, not whooping their ass. So, for me, you're not – Ben Simmons isn't playing. So, Tyrese Halliburton is a star in the making. Just read off what he do here. Didn't he light up the Lakers too?
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just – it's a good deal for both sides in this. And he's got to think about like this, too. It's more for basketball thing and stuff like that. You got a guard in Halliburton that can help space out your offense for Embiid. He can dish. A big guard at 6'3", 6'4". Can shoot the ball. Has confidence in his shot. A thing that you're not getting from your other guard that you letting sitting at home. That's the main thing right there. Mr. Halliburton had 38 points in your house. Wasn't scared to shoot the ball at all. And you turned that down?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's why I said again, who the hell is he looking for? Because again, is this an ego trip thing where you know you had a trade on a table for James Harden and you didn't get that, and then it's conversations that we've been hearing that, for one, James Harden doesn't like Brooklyn. He doesn't like to stay there. Yeah, it's not a surprise. Like, and he's gonna test free agency next year, which is fine, cool. So maybe he's holding on to that. But even if that falls through for you, and say you find a way to get James Harden next year, you still got Ben Simmons on the books, and you're gonna try to convince him to stay and to play, or like what is the plan? Is what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what can you get for Ben Simmons that's better than a trade with the Kings, like Tyrese Halliburton? Like, I don't see a trade that's better than that. I can't wait to see what they do and who they get. And if they trade it, like I'm really like can't wait for that.
And the thing is, like, okay, the Kings are giving Halliburton, Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, and think about this, D-Lock. I think of this as a GM mind. I getting Ben Simmons' money off the books. I getting Tobias Harris's contract off the books. That I'm starting to have buyer's remorse on. And I getting 2 firsts back to a Sacramento team that probably wanted to make the playoffs and probably be in the lottery. And then I'm not balking at the trade because I'm not getting rid of Matisse Thybulle. No shade to Matisse Thybulle, but say for example, okay, that trade goes through. Say for example, we'll just throw out a scenario out here that Ben Simmons still, chills at home, whatever. You can, and Sacramento ain't making no damn playoffs, so just unless they really, really go on a run. But if they don't make the playoffs, you as the 76ers, with this draft class coming up, and D-Lock, I love the potential in this draft class. If that damn pick falls somewhere in the top 5, that Kings pick fall in the top 5, you could get another potential franchise player in the fold. I'm just saying, in the fold. The kid from Duke, Pablo from Duke, Chet Holmgren, Smith from Auburn, the kid from Purdue, names escapes me at the moment. I can't think of his name right now. And a host of others. Michael Baldwin, kid from Milwaukee. So forth. It's just like, and we talked. I think I said this to you about last year or something like that. When Daryl Morey sent that China tweet way back when, and that fool really never got punished for it.
Yeah.
I said this to you. I'm still kind of surprised he still got a job in the NBA. But the NBA lost a good amount of money on that tweet. Business is business. I'm still kind of surprised he's still in the league because all that money he's lost. And look what he's doing with the damn 76ers. Losing them money and hoping and praying and wishing on the star that James Harden comes to Philadelphia.
Yeah. Hell, at this point, the way James Harden rolling, I don't want no parts of that. I mean, you really want to deal with this guy right here, the way he's acting as far as he don't want to be in Brooklyn. Like, again, just like we said earlier, you got a trade right now where you're gonna get a hell of a player out of Halliburton, hell of a scorer too. Like, like he got you what you're looking for. Now, granted, I like Tyrese Maxey. I think he's playing pretty well.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know what's the deal with Tobias. I don't know how that's going to play out. But if you're going to build around Joel Embiid, we seen Shaq at his greatest. He had a lot of shooters around him, clearly a scorer and Kobe. But dude, I don't. They're throwing me. I'm confused at what he's doing and why is he turning down some of this stuff, man. Like I said, this dude must want Michael Jordan or a young LeBron in this trade or something. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what the hell he's thinking.
If our ownership, if I'll say this, if the trade deadline coming past, so be it. But if I'm 76ers ownership, come draft week, in the NBA draft week, if something really don't materialize and I don't get the best, if something don't happen, or I can't convince this fool to come play for me, then he got to go. Because by that time, It's been a full calendar year. By that time, come draft week, you know who's drafting where. And you gotta find the best deal possible. If he ain't gonna be there, if him is sits on his hands for a whole calendar year, and you didn't really get nothing for me, and the draft comes and goes, and you still ain't got nothing for me, then you gotta go. You know, I don't care. I don't care if you can convince James Harden that he can come.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
I mean, the thing is, don't forget, all of this started with the giving up the dunk or the layup by Ben Simmons and not taking the shot. And, you know, Joel Embiid said what he said. Doc Rivers said what he said. You know, all of this stuff. You started, you know, this is where this stuff started at. And they were making it seem like this team is much, much better without Ben Simmons. Now, yes, they're what, third in the East right now? Yeah, they're tied for third right now, 30-19. But they don't look, defense-wise, I've been saying, they don't look the same than they did last year. Like, they just look completely different. So, they just have to get this in order, man. I personally feel as if Ben Simmons and B were going to work together anyway, just because, like, I just feel like it's just not enough space for those two, knowing that Ben Simmons is not a big-time shooter. But, dude, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I guess being awed into Brooklyn getting their big three, yeah, he's trying to have something similar, and dude's gonna be waiting forever for some shit like that.
And on the sign up to James Harden, like, dude, and I tweeted this from the Fast Break account when that story came out. You trying to go to the Northeast where they tax the hell out of you up there. The cost of living is much higher than Houston. It's cold. Like, right now, they getting like a huge snowstorm up there right now. A big one. About 22 inches or so. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the nightlife is going to be different. Yeah, of course it is. If you got used to that Houston nightlife, that New York nightlife is kind of different. Yeah, it's cool that you kind of close to Dallas. You like even Houston. You can go to Dallas and have fun, or maybe swing down to New Orleans. Well, don't do that. They kind of wild down there. But anyways, still, come on, dog. Like, sometimes I don't get these players. Like, you got to think about these things before you move. And plus, New York. Do you have a TikTok, D-Lock?
I actually do not.
Okay, I do. And sometimes, if y'all on TikTok, for your page, these things come up, you know, for where you're interested in your likes and stuff like that. Somehow, I'll be on a New York TikTok, and some of the apartments I see, like 1-bedroom studio apartments, whatever, $2,000 for a small amount of space.
Mm-hmm.
The pricing is outrageous. Now, granted, that's this small little apartment, and I know James Harden's a millionaire and get something very good, but still, you gotta think about what you want to do. You gotta think about, for playing wise, yeah, you want to consider that, but also your living situation as well. In Texas, you don't pay no state taxes as well. In New York, they tax the hell out of you, especially in the city. I remember before he head out. I remember Bomani Jones when he moved to New York for the TV show that he don't do anymore. He said like the first couple weeks being in New York, he feel like he's been like the ATM all the time for how much things are different up there. Mm-hmm. And that's probably what Harden probably didn't realize. Like, damn, dog, I'm spending more money than I really have to, and I didn't have to do in Houston. And I'm not saying going to Philly would be much better. It's still, and Philly's like an hour a change away from New York. But you gotta think about these things. You gotta think about these things before you make your trades. Before you make your moves. Gotta think about all those things. I'll let you have the last word.
I mean, I just with James Harden, it just seems as if he's very opinionated. He doesn't know exactly. One day he wants to do this, and then the next day he doesn't. He's looking for the perfect, I guess, situation, which is not bad to find that. But I thought being in Brooklyn was. I mean, you there with James Harden. I mean, you there with Durant and Kyrie. I thought this was the spot. I mean, he did all that stuff. Remember, he was in like bad shape in Houston. Like he just was not working out or anything to get to Houston to get to Brooklyn.
And hanging around Lil Baby and all that stuff.
Yeah, doing all this stuff just so he can get to where he wanted to go at. And now when this happens, now all of a sudden he don't want to stay there, or there's questions about it. I'm thinking he's even talking about being kind of upset about the fact of Kyrie's decision as far as the whole COVID thing. Like to me, I just found it being there's a lot of excuses of why he wants to leave if this is somewhat true. But for me, again, this dude's so inconsistent, man. I don't want no parts. I wouldn't want the Magic to get this dude. He's so inconsistent right now. You don't know what he'll do. He'll stay there for 6 weeks or 6 months and then change his mind. So you make a big trade for somebody like that, and then they come back later on and say, "Well, you know what? What do you like? Oh, I don't want to stay here anymore." It don't make no sense.
Yeah, and we'll leave it on that note, and then we'll probably discuss more of this next week because it seems like the news that really don't stop, and the trade deadline coming up here soon. We're gonna be hearing a lot more rumors and stuff like that going around the league. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning up with us here on IE Sports Radio. But first, before we head out, for the last 7.5 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All while we've been continue to be by the fans, for the fans, and with your help, we're ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iSportsRadio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one, starting at $5 a month, this donation gets you shout-outs on all 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment on our flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all so very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. And shout out to the chat. Shout out to Terrence. Shout out to Larry B in the chat. The main man in charge. Also, shout out to Jim. Jim Steele is our January fan of the month. Jim is a Steelers fan. And I know we've been retiring. I know he's pretty sad about that. But shout out to Jim for being our fan of the month. And that's our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll be back next week discussing all things basketball. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813, Twitter and Instagram. That's where I'll be at, even though I'm taking a break from tweeting about the Bucks right now. That is where I will be. Let them know where they can find you at, man.
Find me at Twitter at Spawn4288. Please do follow the show at Fast Break at IESR. That's Fast Break IESR. Also follow the main IE Sports Twitter account at IE Sports Radio. You see the black and white logo in the header. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, we are out, and we talk to y'all later.